Back to The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker HD. Last time I finished Dragon Roost Cavern and returned to Windfall Island to clear out its auction house. I get back on the King of Red Lions and head out east again. Dotted all over the sea are these little rings, which mean I can use my grappling hook to pull out the treasure from there. Okay, so I tried to pull up every single one of these in the game, but there's like 200 or 300 of them and I couldn't keep track of them all. They all just contain rupees, so it would be incredibly tedious if I pointed out all 300 cases of "and I pull up this rupee box." So I'll be skipping these. Just know that I at least tried to pull up all of them. It will also explain why my rupee count may constantly skyrocket between cuts. I get back to Dragon Roost and I can see another ring but with a huge light shining out of it. These ones I will be pointing out as they are the treasures pointed out on the treasure charts. This one is the treasure pointed out on treasure chart 39, a silver rupee worth 200, double what they were last worth in Majora's Mask. I now get moving south from Dragon Roost, my new swift sail meaning I don't need to change the wind direction. One square south of Dragon Roost Island is a small island covered in fire with a constantly erupting volcano. I can't do anything with it yet, but I can feed the fishman to get it marked on my sea chart as Fire Mountain. He says that there's a great treasure in that island, but no one's been able to even get near it. He does say that the power to freeze can be found 1 square north and 4 squares west of here, but that's for much later, not in this video. Moving south some more and I find another pirate tower. This time there's a single bokoblin and a chest. The chest contains a yellow rupee. Continuing south a square to meet Octorok spitting their crap at me and I find little tornadoes I can use to gain some air. I spot another small island here where the salvage core can be seen hanging out, but there's also a treasure charts location here. This is from the chart the salvage core gave me last time I saw them, chart 34. It gets me another silver rupee. I take a photo of the salvage core while they're here. On the island I can see one of those statues Lenzo had a photo of in his gallery. Feeding the fishman gets it marked down as Eastern Triangle Island. Moving south some more to the next square to reach another island covered in boulders. I can't do anything here yet but get the fishman to mark it down as Bomb Island. Slightly southwest of that island is a submarine I can enter. It's filled with a couple bokoblins and some rats I have to kill. First I make sure to get a good picture of one of the rats. I'm also still grappling every bokoblin for every joy pendant I can get. Killing them all spawns a chest containing my second bottle. South some more is another tower, this one with cannons built around it. But I get past them and climb up, then kill the 2 bokoblins up here to spawn another chest with a red rupee inside. Then it's south a little more and we've reached our destination, the Forest Haven. It consists of this big island with a huge hollowed out tree, some smaller surrounding islands and another huge tree shaped structure nearby. The King of Red Lions tells me that this is where the spirit of the earth, the Great Deku Tree, lives. It's the grown up Deku Tree sprout from Ocarina of Time. I need to get him to give me Farore's Pearl, but I have to be careful as Ganondorf's forces seem to have already reached this place. First thing I do is feed the nearby fishman to get Forest Haven marked on my chart. He talks about there sometimes being a large merchant on the raft at Bomb Island, but there was no one there yet when I was there. I stop off by the post box and get climbing up the hills to face my first Bokobaba. First I grapple them to take another spoil, their Bokobaba seeds. These can also be used to make potions, but I won't be getting much use out of them. They're easily defeated by just walking up and giving them a few whacks. Cutting their heads off makes them leave behind a Deku stick. At the top of these hills I then grapple and swing across to this river flowing out from inside the haven. There's Nocturok up here I can kill by bouncing its shots back at it with my shield. Then I grapple further on up the river to find the entrance. In here I can see the huge tree in the middle. I follow the flow of the water to reach the tree, but before I approach it I run around the back to see the flashing ball and bottle it. It's a forest firefly. In the GameCube original, Lenzo needed this to upgrade the Picto blocks for colour, but with that being done earlier, its purpose has been changed. I go around the front of the Deku Tree where I can see its big face. He seems to be asleep until a load of choo-choos form around his face, which wakes him up and makes him start freaking out. I have to roll into him to knock off all the choo-choos and start killing them. This includes my first green choo-choos. A couple spin attacks take them all out quickly. The Deku Tree starts speaking to me in ancient Hylian, but corrects himself. Seeing someone wearing those clothes after so many centuries brought back old memories and made him instinctively speak in the language from that era. He thanks Link and asks if it was the King of Red Lions who brought him here. When Link confirms it, he then knows that Link is here for Farore's Pearl. That combined with seeing monsters appear in his wood makes him realise that Ganondorf is back. He calls for his children, the Koroks, to reveal themselves. Like the Rito, this is the first time the Koroks appear. As they float down, the Deku Tree hints that the Koroks were once the Kokiri, as they took on human forms, but then became the way they are now to be more suited for life at sea. Link has arrived just in time for their annual ceremony, and he will be granted the pearl once it's finished. He apologises for making him wait, but delaying the ceremony will cause them problems. But they can't start, as another Korok floats down from the sky, Linda, shouting about another Korok, Makar. Makar has fallen into the Forbidden Woods, pissing off the Deku Tree. They were flying near it, Makar got too close and then fell. The Forbidden Woods are the other huge structure near the Haven and is filled with monsters. He asks Link to go bring back Makar for him, since as he is a tree, he can't move to do it himself. Linda points out that Link can't fly to get in the woods though, but the Deku Tree has an idea. He strains and shouts, all to release a single leaf on one of his branches higher up. When I gain control, I talk to Linda to have him explain that Korok spend most of the time away from the Forest Haven, helping raise new trees to grow new forests across the Great Sea. They then return every year for the ceremony. On the other side of the Deku Tree is Aldo, who says that the Forbidden Woods were once their home before it was infested, and some of their old houses may remain there. So it's possible that the Forbidden Woods are what's left of either the Kokiri Forest or Lost Woods. There's this flower, and next to it, Oakin. He explains that it's a Baba Bud. You can get inside them and they will launch you into the air. So I use them and launch myself up a series of them. A chunk of the way there is Urch, waiting up here to cheer me on. I grapple to another bud and launch myself up several more to reach the item, the Deku Leaf. On the ground I can wave it to send out a gust of wind, and in the air I can use it to hover in the air, though that uses up magic from the magic meter I gain from picking it up. I have Roan call out to me, pointing out the exit that leads to the Forbidden Woods. However, I first use another nearby Baba Bud to float to another exit higher up. Outside I'm shown this island with a closed hatch and some guy stood next to it. I jump off the cliff and use my Deku Leaf to fly over to it. After cutting the grass to magic jars to refill my magic meter, I talk to the man, Manny. He asks me if I can hit a switch around the top of the Forest Haven. I can see it from here, but first I whip out my camera since I have 2 more photo slots left. First, near the Forbidden Woods I can take a picture of the peahats flying around there. Next is the seagulls, which can be a tough one since they're always moving a lot. Speaking of seagulls, this is where the Huey pair I bought back on Outset Island comes in. I stick it on my head and wait for a seagull to take it so I can take control of it. I then fly it up into the switch to open the hatch, and drop a ladder so that I can climb here instead of flying from the Forest Haven. Manny jumps inside and I follow. I talk to him and he says he's become a member of whatever this place is. I talk to the man at the counter, Karlov, who explains that this is the Nintendo Gallery Figurine Palace. He then has a thinly veiled reference to the fact that neither of the consoles Wind Waker was on were among Nintendo's big successors, and yet those are the 2 that happen to be the ones I aim to collect a full set of games for. In this place, I give Karlov a good colour photo of a character or enemy from this game, and in return he sculpts a figurine of the character in that photo. Gotta like all the little references in the back there, like the long milk bottles and the masks. What makes this quest so much more convenient on the Wii U is not just the Pictobox being able to hold 12 photos instead of 3, but also the fact that I can hand over multiple photos to Karlov at once. Originally, you needed to hand one over, play the Song of Passing until the next morning, and repeat for every individual figurine. But now I can hand up to 12 over and have all 12 be made by the next morning. Let me just say, I already really enjoyed this side quest back on the GameCube, but these changes are absolutely for the best and save so much time. To start with, I just hand over 3 and get them made. Then I also take photos of Karlov and Manny before checking out the rat figurine, which is in the cave theme room, along with the peahat. In the Outset Island room is where the seagull figurine is. The rooms are Outset Island, Dragon Roost Island, Windfall Island, Forest Haven, Great Sea, then the cave room for enemies and the Forsaken Fortress room for bosses and stronger enemies. I then get handing over all my photos, except for the Fire Keys one which is counted as any other keys. Karlov even has unique dialogue for giving him a photo of himself or Manny. The figurines all have little blurbs and I'll point out any that contain new information or just anything interesting. The next morning, the Forest Haven room has figurines of Manny, who is actually from Windfall Island, and Karlov, who doesn't let people watch him sculpt as he does it in his undies. The Dragon Roost Island room gains a Valu figurine. Not set in this game, but according to the Hyrule Historia, he's possibly a descendant of the boss Volvagia from Ocarina of Time. The enemy room gains figurines of Magtail, Keese and Fire Keese, and Kargarok. The Forsaken Fortress room gains Goma, who you could get a figurine of on a first playthrough back on the GameCube, but not until much later in the game. The Windfall Island room gains Minenko, which is where you learn she was once a Miss Windfall 40 years ago. There's also Gummy, who seems a bit shady as he's always at the auctions despite no one knowing how he even earns his money, and no one questions the income of the other sailors. In the Great Sea room is the Salvage Corps, who are said to be from the Angular Isles. They're all friends who set off together, but their first treasure find only got them enough money to buy their diving helmets. That's all of them, so I leave and right outside I snap a picture of the Fishman. Near the main island is one of Beedle's ships, so after restocking my bait I get a picture of him too. Climbing back up to the Forest Haven, I also get pictures of a Boko Baba and an Octorok. And inside the Forest Haven, I get photos of the Deku Tree, Aldo, Oaken, Linda, and then behind Linda is the entrance of the potion shop run by Hollow and get a photo of him. Then flying around the haven is Drona, then I get climbing again for Urch and Roan. This is by far the best time in the game to get pictures of all the Koroks, since it's the only time they're all hanging around in one place. That's another 12, so it's back to the gallery to get the figurines made. This fills up the majority of the Forest Haven room, getting figures of Hollow, the Great Deku Tree, Drona, Roan, Urch, Oaken, Aldo, and Linda. Apart from Hollow, who always stays in the Forest Haven, the Korok figurines tell you where they go after the ceremony. The enemy room gains figurines of the Boko Baba and the Octorok. The GameCube version said the Octoroks had the perfect attendance award for having been in every Zelda game up to that point. But Twilight Princess, in the most evil act ever pulled, left them out, so that had to be changed. And in the Great Sea room we get Beedle, who is revealed to be very into bugs, and the Fishman, who apparently all suffer from stiff necks. Now it's time for the Forbidden Woods. In the Forest Haven I fly over to the exit Roan is standing by. As I step outside I'm shown the Forbidden Woods and another island I need to land on the way there, as making the jump from here is impossible. I have two more Koroks to photograph out here. First is Elmer. I make the wind blow in the direction of the island and fly over to it with the Deku Leaf. I snap a picture of Olivio, the last Korok apart from Makar. I next set the wind towards the Forbidden Woods and make sure I fly into this little cyclone to lift myself into the air, as I need the extra height to make it. I land on the platform and enter the Forbidden Woods. As I take a few steps in, a group of green Choo-Choo spawn, so I get a picture and then grapple them for their green Choo Jelly that can be used to make the magic restoring green potion. Running up the slope to the right of the entrance takes me to a chest containing the dungeon map. Opposite the entrance is a door blocked off by this eyeball plant, but to the left are these Boko nuts I can pick up. Gotta be quick with them as they start to rot after they get picked up. I throw it at the plant while it's open to unlock the door. The doors in this place also have the Kokiri Emerald emblem on them. In the next room I start with a Baba Bud right in front of me. I drop down to the bottom of the room and get a Deku stick from killing a Boko Baba and light it on fire. I can use it to burn the little piles of dead leaves around this room. Some are hiding rupees, others fairies. There's also a chest down here with another of those plants on it, but setting it on fire kills it. The chest contains my second Knight's Crest. I get in the Baba Bud down here and bounce myself all the way up to the next door. But it has another plant blocking it, so I use a nearby bomb flower to open it up. In the next room there's a wooden lift that moves when the propellers nearby are hit with a gust of wind from the Deku Leaf. I use it to cross this pit and reach the next door. In here I actually have to fight the Peahats, but grappling them can get you a golden feather as well. Right now I have to stun them with the Deku Leaf and hit them before they get back up. Killing one of the Boko Babas in here will make it leave behind a Baba Bud. I can use it to reach this nearby chest that gets me a red rupee. I then use the buds to climb to this door, but it has another plant on it, so I have to ride this platform to the other side of the room to break down these boards to find a Boko nut. I carry it back and unlock the door with it. In here is another door locked with a plant and the Boko nut out in the open in the middle of the room. But huge tentacles rise up around the nut when you approach it, so you have to use the Deku Leaf to blow it out of that circle so you can then use it to unlock the door. In the middle of the next room is a huge plant on a platform held up to the ceiling by these blue ropes. Can't do anything about it just yet, so I get moving to the right and up around the room using the grappling hook and crossing these flat moving wood tentacle things that act as platforms. It takes me to a locked door needing a key with a Boko nut in front of it. I carry it across the middle platform to the door with a plant and open it. The room it leads to is a straight line to another door with a single pit in it. In the pit are Morph. These will all rush to Link and cling onto him to weigh him down and stop him running. I get a photo of them and drop down to open the chest down there. A single spin attack will kill all the Morph clinging to you. The chest has a yellow rupee and I go through the next door. This room is a big maze, with the walls being more tentacles that shoot up as you approach them. Making my way to the left side of the room, there are some boards I need to use a bomb flower to destroy. Behind them is a chest containing the dungeon's compass. I can't reach the other set of boards from here, but I can throw another bomb flower over to destroy them before I go back and make my way around the right side of the room to reach it. The chest behind those gets me my first small key in this place. I can then use the Baba Bud nearby to skip the maze on the way back. But there are these big pots up here I can smash, one of them having a joy pendant. I go back a couple rooms and unlock the door I had to pass earlier. Another wooden platform I have to blow across to the next door. In here is a new enemy, the Mothula. Getting a photo of this without it ripping my face off was so tough I accidentally killed it trying to clear out the morph swarming me. I use the buds here to launch myself to the next level of the room, and then once again where there are two more doors, one open already and another with two plants locking it. I go through the unlocked one and the door locks behind me. There's a huge Mothula hiding above the door, but this one has wings. Since there are no other enemies in my way, I managed to get the photo I need. I hit it once in the face and it flies back to squirt out some morphs from its arse. Between that it also flies in at high speeds to crash into me. I get a parry in on one of those attacks to cut off a wing. I knock the other one off with a jump slash to turn it into a regular Mothula, and from there a few more jump attacks finish it off and unlock the gate leading to this chest. The chest contains the boomerang, and this may be my favourite form of the boomerang in the series. This boomerang can target up to 5 things at once before I throw it, so I can have it zipping around a load of enemies at once. Right now I have to use it to hit the 2 switches above the door to get rid of the bars so I can leave. I also have a far more efficient way of killing Peahats now, instead of the Deku Leaf Sword combo. The boomerang can then hit both of the plants on this door at once so I can get through it. There are several nuts hanging from the vines here, but the boomerang cuts them all down in no time. It's just so fun rapidly locking onto so many things and hitting them so fast. I Deku Leaf over the gap to reach a chest containing a joy pendant and go through the door. This takes me to the same level as those blue ropes holding up the tree. I cut them all down and the platform falls through the floor below, giving me access to the basement level. But before dropping down to the basement, there's a door on what used to be the bottom of this room, requiring the boomerang to unlock. Once I go in, tentacles block me from leaving. There's a pair of Mothula I have to kill, and doing so spawns a chest and gets rid of the tentacles. The chest has another joy pendant inside. I go through the next door to find that it leads to the room with the boss door inside. I don't have the big key yet, but I can at least use a stick and torch to burn open the warp pot in here. Back 2 rooms and I drop down into the basement. I go through the door down there to find a few platforms covered in morphs. After taking them all out, I jump across to the right and go through the next door. There's a flower held up by vines, but first I jump across it to a chest containing a yellow rupee. I cut the vines to drop the flower into the water below. On one side is a bomb flower and on the other some boards I can blow up with it. This reveals a door to another room. There's a huge tree stump in the middle, but first I run around the little platforms around it, mugging and killing the enemies. One Boko Baba leaves behind a bud I can use to get to the higher level where there are propellers for moving another platform. This one leads to a bomb flower that I throw down a hole in the top of the tree, destroying the plant covering the chest inside. This chest had treasure chart 15 inside. Back to the flower in the previous room, I can use the Deku Leaf to propel myself along the water on it. I send myself all the way to the other end through the door, which is once again blocked off behind me by tentacles. There's a chest behind a gate, so I go up the ramp next to it to the top of this tree stump. There are 5 switches surrounding it and hitting all 5 with the boomerang opens the gate and lets me open the chest to get the big key. As soon as I get it, 2 moblins are dropped into the room. I've always loved the moblins' reaction when you steal their skull necklaces from them. I take them out and a door much higher up is unlocked. I have to swing to it from the top of the tree stump. This puts me back in the room with the morphs on the platforms. Back out of that room and I leaf this propeller to create a huge gust of air from the flower in the bottom I can float up with. I then backtrack all the way to the second room of the dungeon and climb up a few more Baba Buds I missed first time through. They lead to a chest with a plant covering it that I boomerang to death. The chest contains treasure chart 1. Next is the room I first met a Mothula, the one before the room you find the boomerang. On the second level there's a grapple point I can climb and jump from to go up several more platforms to find one last chest containing a joy pendant. Now I can return to the room with the boss door. First, one of the pots in here releases a fairy when broken and I make sure to get myself a photo of her. I drink my red potion from earlier to make some room for this fairy. I also love how this game is the only one to show how upsetting it is for the fairies to be bottled, right next to Link's big grin. I unlock the boss door and inside I can see Makar jumping up and down on a giant flower. More important is me getting the photo I need of him. As I approach him, what looks like a blue Boko Baba rises behind him and swallows him. The entire flower comes to life and becomes the second boss, Kale Demos. My first act, as usual, is to take the photo. Approaching Kale Demos brings the risk of tentacles rising from the floor to hit you. My target are the rope-like things attaching it to the ceiling. I have to use the boomerang to cut them all down while I avoid being slammed by the tentacles. Cutting them all down makes it fall and open up so I can reach the mouth in the middle and give it a few good whacks. After a bit it closes again around me and spits me out. It becomes more aggressive with both of its usual tentacle attacks. I cut it down once again and one more spin attack cuts its mouth off. The mouth explodes when it hits the ground to reveal Makar and a heart container as the rest of the flower withers and dies. We have a little chat with Makar and remind him that today is the day of the ceremony, which has him freak out that he's in trouble. I then grab the heart container. I have the same feelings towards the Forbidden Woods that I have towards Dragon Roost Cavern. I like it, but it's not my favourite forest dungeon, but definitely not my least favourite of them. It stands out from the others by not being the first dungeon of its game. The portal out places us right in front of the Deku Tree. Makar cries and apologises for ignoring the Deku Tree's warnings, but he's just happy to see Makar safe. He even gives Link Pharaoh's Pearl now, instead of after the ceremony as intended. The Deku Tree encourages Makar to stop crying and play his song for him. And the ceremony takes place with Makar playing his violin while the other Koroks sing. This makes several seeds fall from the Deku Tree's crown. The other Koroks all take a seed each and take off around the Great Sea to plant more forests. Talking to the Deku Tree reveals that growing a forest can make a tiny island expand into a larger one, and the plan is to connect the islands of the Great Sea to form a single landmass once again. Makar is still here, as is Hollow in his potion lab. He says that his violin was a birth present from the Deku Tree and it was used by people long ago, which implies it has been in use at least since the days of the Kokiri. Back outside I have some post. It's from the Rito Chieftain, once again thanking Link for his help and offering any help in return that they can. The guy has no name though, he even signs it from Komal, his father. He did include a piece of heart though. The King of Red Lions, worried that Ganondorf's influence has reached even here, says we must hurry to the Third Pearl, which is northwest from here. He says we must hurry, but I'm not going to, I'm doing some side quest. We always have infinite time in games when told to hurry but there's no timer, so what's the worst that can happen? I hand over my 8 photos to Karlov and get the figurines made. In the Forest Haven room I've added Makar, Elmer and Olivio. This room is just missing one figurine now. The enemy room gained Choo Choo and Morph. The Forsaken Fortress room gained Mothula, showcasing both of its forms, and Kale Demos. Finally, the Great Sea room has the fairy figurine added. I return to the platform outside the Forest Haven that I fly to the Forbidden Woods from and make the wind blow to the southeast. There's another island I can float to in that direction. He has a chest containing treasure chart 3. I am gonna explore a lot of islands now. I start by heading 1 square east of the Forest Haven. As I approach this island I get attacked by a Gyorg in the water, named after the Majora's Mask boss. I snap a photo and luckily I just need its fin. I feed the fishman here and get this square marked down as Cliff Plateau Isles. Also in this square is another pirate tower. There's a few bokoblins up here and some wizrobes casting fire spells at me. I get a photo of a wizrobe and a bokoblin and open the chest here for a Bokobaba seed. However, I can't kill the wizrobes with my current equipment. I could hit them with my sword if they teleported onto the platforms, but I didn't have that luck, so I left them for now. I go to the island I just had marked down and climb a little to drop into a hole. I land in front of a load of tree stumps I have to jump across to reach the other side of this cave. It leads to another maze of tentacles that rise from the ground when you get close. The Bokobaba at the end leaves behind a bud I can use to reach the platforms above. At the end of them I can throw a burning Deku stick to these boards to burn them and also drop down to this chest containing a joy pendant. Behind the boards is a portal leading to the top of the highest rock. Aldo is here saying that the Deku seed he planted is failing to grow. He assumes that all the other Koroks are facing a similar problem. Should these trees wither and they fail to grow more forests, the Deku Tree himself will also wither and die. They require water from the Forest Haven, but they can wait a while. There's also a chest up here containing treasure chart 25. One of a limited amount of blue Choo Choos is up here as well. I steal his blue Chew Jelly since I can't kill him right now. He's electrified, so using my sword would get me shocked. I get sailing a square south, where there are a few rocks jutting out of the ground and a treasure chart location. This is the treasure of chart 33, getting me my 8th piece of heart and increasing my health to 7 hearts. I feed the fishman and get the 5-star isles marked on my sea chart. I get sailing south some more, where I find 4 rafts surrounding a submarine. One of the rafts holds a chest with a red rupee inside. After mugging the bokoblins for all their joy pendants, I go inside. I have a few bokoblins to kill, which makes a chest spawn containing another piece of heart. There's also a pirate tower nearby, but no chests I can get. I get sailing west and come under attack from a larger P-hat, a C-hat, making sure to get the photo. I find more rafts, one of which having a chest with a Bokobaba seed inside. I find an island and feed the fishman to get the boating course marked on my chart. The boating course is a mini-game run by Lute, who I met last time in the Windfall Cafe at night. I get a photo, but I won't be playing his game just yet. But I do float to the smaller island across from the one he's on to find another hole. There's mini blinds down here and I make sure to get a photo. I fight them off while hitting the switches up in the walls to spawn a chest containing the submarine chart, showing where all the submarines on the sea are. I sail back to the Forest Haven to hand in my photos. In the Great Sea room I add the figurine of Lute. Then in the enemy room I added the bokoblins, mini blinds, Gyorg and C-hat. Finally, the Forsaken Fortress room gained a wizrobe figurine. I next get sailing directly west from the boating course to find another island. Feeding the fishman gets the Angular Isles marked down on my chart. This is where the salvage core come from apparently. Close to the island is another treasure chart spot. This is the treasure of chart 15, another piece of heart. I get onto the island, which is made of blocks, and start pulling blocks out so that I can climb to the top. There's a chest here with another piece of heart and another blue Choo Choo to get blue Chew Jelly from. You can only get one jelly from each blue Choo Choo, making it the only spoil you can get a limited amount of. There's a hole nearby that I can float to, but I can't do anything in here yet. Back to sailing another square west. There's a pirate tower absolutely full with bokoblins and a couple cargo rocks. I get so many joy pendants here. The chest up here has a purple rupee. Near the island I get the fishman to mark the 2-eye reef onto my chart. He says that a great fairy used to live near here, but ever since a huge squid appeared she's been missing. Near the island I can see a group of seagulls flying over one spot. If I approach it, suddenly a huge big octo rises from the sea and I get caught in a whirlpool slowly approaching its mouth. First I take the picture, as there are a limited amount of these in the game. Then I get throwing the boomerang at its eyes. This one has 4 eyes, 3 on the front and 1 on the back. The boomerang is kind of a risky one to use as it takes more time for it to make the hits and then return, but it's the only weapon I can hit it with right now. I have to hit all the eyes until they turn blue to defeat it. The big octo sinks into the sea and the great fairy is released. She thanks me as my boomerang is inches from hitting her in the gut. My reward is to have my magic meter doubled in length. I sail another square west and as I approach the next island there is another submarine nearby. This one is filled with rats and bomb flowers running around holding them to become bomb chews. Taking them all out spawns a chest containing treasure chart 14. I approach the island and feed the fishman to get it marked down as Headstone Island. He says that if I want to be able to lift the giant stone blocking a cave on this island, I should go to Fire Mountain. But of course I can't get into Fire Mountain yet. But what I can do on this island is get a photo of a crab. I can also use a Huey pair to fly a seagull up to one of the nearby tall rocks to find my 12th piece of heart. West from there is Outset Island. I stop by and check in on Link's grandma, but she's fallen ill since Link left and isn't even aware that Link is in front of her. I was lucky I played this part when I did, as the day after I played this part my own grandmother had to be rushed to the hospital for some tests, and to not give away too many details the results were not good. Things worked out in the end, but it was a scary 2.5 weeks. But had I played this part just a day later, it would have hit me very hard. But there's nothing else to do here just yet, so I keep sailing west. I find 2 pirate towers next to each other. The first one is some bokoblins and cargo rocks. There's a switch here that spawns a chest on the other tower. The other tower has the same enemies and a switch that spawns a chest on the first tower. The chest on this one contains treasure chart 43, one of 5 new treasure charts exclusive to the Wii U version. The chest on the first tower is another golden feather. I reach the island and have the fishman mark Horseshoe Island on my map. Horseshoe Island contains a golf minigame. I have to use the Deku Leaf at the right angle to blow a Boko nut up the hill into the hole. Filling the hole removes the tentacles blocking the path forward. It can be tricky, but there are no ways to cheat it, just have to keep playing until you get the angle right. Filling them all spawns a chest on a nearby cliff. Past all the holes is Old Man Ho-Ho. Turns out he's actually looking into a kaleidoscope. Thanks to where he's standing, he's very tough to get a good photo of. His eye is also unhealthily bloodshot. I give up on him here, I'll be able to find him in other places, and go down the hole next to him. This cave has 3 Mothula, one with wings. Just take them all out to spawn a chest, this one containing treasure chart 8. Outside I float over to the other chest I spawned for treasure chart 28. This island is the most southwestern one on the Great Sea, so I sail a square north. I have the fishman mark the next island, Diamond Step Island, on the chart. Around this island is one of the treasure chart locations, the treasure of chart 23, a piece of heart. I can't do anything else with this island yet, so I sail another square north to this island with a very tall rock. There's another treasure chart location next to it. I've already found the treasure of chart 28, a silver rupee. I get on this island to find another blue Choo Choo and get my 3rd blue Chew Jelly. There's a chest here surrounded by a ring of fire, and next to it Elmer and his withering tree. I use a Huey pair and have the seagull fly to the very top of this rock and hit a switch to get rid of the fire. The chest contains another piece of heart. This place is Needle Rock Isle, but since I ended my recording after getting that heart piece, I forget to feed the fishman here and sail off to the north. There's another reef around here, and feeding the fishman gets it marked as the 3-eye reef, showing me I missed Needle Rock. Around the outer wall of the reef I can get another treasure chart's loot, chart 38 piece of heart. I return to Needle Rock to get it marked on my chart. Next is the square 1 north of Outset Island, another reef revealed to be the 5-eye reef when I feed the fishman. There's another tower in this square, but there's Wizrobes here, so I give up on it. North from that square is a fortress surrounded by boats that shoot bombs towards me. Feeding the fishman gets it marked on the chart as the Islet of Steel. I get sailing north from there to finally reach our next destination, Great Fish Isle. but as I approach it I can see the same dark clouds that were above Dragon Roost. And as I get even closer I can see that the island has been ripped apart. Maybe leaving it so long was a bad idea. The king says that the water spirit Jaboon lived here, but there's no sign of him. That's when Quill shows up. He confirms that Jaboon cannot be found here anymore, but Jaboon was able to flee before the island was attacked. He is currently hiding on Outset Island, but Link still can't reach him. He sealed himself inside a cave behind a strong stone slab. Even the pirates, when they tried, couldn't get past it. He apologises for letting them know where Jaboon is hiding, as it led to them trying to force their way in. But since it didn't work, they've stopped at Windfall. Quill recommends looking for the pirates myself. He knows the dark skies and rain, feeling Valu was right to warn Link of Jaboon's situation and that the island may be cursed. He says Link shouldn't stay here too long before he leaves. I ignore that warning and swim to this rock with a slope leading around to the top. Linda and his dying tree are up here, managing to avoid the devastation. From there I change the wind direction and float northwest to one of the huge upturned chunks of the island. I jump off to the right to find a hole in another chunk with a chest inside containing my 16th piece of heart. I leave the island and set off east, making sure to feed the Fishman and get Great Fish Isle drawn on the chart. Even after leaving the island, the rain hasn't stopped. I find another tower with 3 bokoblins to kill to create a chest, getting me a golden feather. East of Great Fish Isle is another reef, and this one has a load of normal treasures to dig up. I feed the Fishman, this one being Cyclops Reef. Southeast from there takes me to another submarine. This one has some moblins and choo-choos to take out to reveal a ladder to a chest containing another piece of heart. A square east of the Cyclops Reef is another reef. The Fishman marks it as Six Eye Reef. Further east 1 square is the beam of light marking the treasure for chart 14, a silver rupee. For now, the square east of Six Eye Reef can't be filled in. North from that square is a small island with a strange building on it. The Fishman fills it in as Eastern Fairy Island. There's also another chart's treasure near the island. Chart 3 was leading to another silver rupee. I stop off at the island and check the post box. It's from Orca reminding me to bring him Knight's Crest when I have 10. He also sent me a red rupee. Olivio and his tree are on this island, but I can't enter the building as there's a big boulder blocking the entrance. I next return to Windfall Island, where we can see the pirate ship parked outside. The king doubts they would give Link any information if they really are after Jaboon's pearl. He suggests gathering information without them knowing Link is here. First I return to the potion shop with the 31 green chew jellies I've built up. He's never seen it before, as Paw Print Island, where he gets his own jellies, only has red chew-chews. He takes 15 of my green jellies, and now I can buy green potions from his shop. I don't buy them, as cutting grass and smashing pots for magic jars is more convenient. Checking out the cafe, Jillian knows about the pirates, but is only concerned about the chances of them being loud in here. Behind Salvatore's building is a ladder to the switch that operates the windmill. I have the wind blow north and step on the switch to get it moving. Getting on the windmill, I can ride it until I can jump off and enter the upper door into Lenzo's house. There are 2 chests in this area, one containing a purple rupee and the other treasure chart 29. There's a crawl space here that drops me back onto his first floor. Lenzo can be seen talking to Minenko, so I take a picture of them both to show the gossips later, as they were talking about the possibility of him having a girlfriend. As I approach them, they're actually just talking about Lenzo's pictograph history before Lenzo nearly shits himself from having me approach him from behind. Now he can know how it feels. Minenko just wanted him to take a great photo of her and had no other intentions. I leave and go back in through the main door to make Minenko disappear so I can talk to Lenzo properly. I give him the forest firefly I bottled. He says they were once needed to take colour photos, but not anymore. In exchange for giving it to him, he gives me a joy pendant. Next is the school, where Mrs. Marie is looking after Potova and Joanna. Where are their parents? Who are their parents? Since I last saw Mrs. Marie, I've built up 76 joy pendants from all those bokoblins I've been stealing from, but I can't give them to her right now. I offer the kids 2 rupees for some gossip, which is that Mrs. Marie owns a nice cabana that she took the kids to once. Would you let your kids go on a boat over monster-infested sea with just a single teacher to watch them? Time to check out the bomb shop, but the front door is locked and I'm told they're closed. So instead I go around the back and in through the hole up there. Inside, Tetra's crew are tying up Bomb Master Cannon and taking his entire stock, saying they need it, and besides, he needs punishing for being a dick with his bomb prices anyway. Mako says he's impressed by how Gonzo managed to talk Quill into giving them the information. He says he knew Link was hiding something back on Outset and pretended to be worried about him to get Quill to talk. Then Mako, impressed with his wits, implies that Gonzo and Tetra should get married and have kids for how great a pirate they would end up. No. Gonzo tells Mako to shut up, but shows that he isn't against the idea. Fucking no. Tetra's face is mine right now. She tells them to hurry up, load the ship with bombs and get off to Outset. But Gonzo has a whine that they haven't been on land for a while and they're hungry, suggesting they get a good night's eating in and set off in the morning. Gonzo says everyone is wanting this, but no one else speaks up. Tetra calls them idiots for not wanting to rush after seeing what was done to Greatfish Isle, saying the same could happen to Outset if they don't hurry. Mako says she sounds more worried about the island than the treasure. That's when Tetra spots Link hiding above, changes her mind and decides to let everyone have the night off. On the way out, Mako asks Gonzo for a reminder on the password to get in the ship. This time it's Barnacle. The password is changed between a few possibilities every playthrough. Once they're gone, I can get behind the counter and take all of Cannon's money in the barrels. I don't need it, but we may as well take what he has left. I leave him to suffer tied up. So I jump from the cliff where the gravestone is onto the pirate ship. Nico asks for the password and I enter Barnacle to be let inside. Since there's no one guarding Tetra's room, I can go inside and see a map relating to the Triforce, along with papers showing the legend of the hero from the opening, plus a painting of who is assumed to be Tetra's mother. Nico is down below and is glad to see Link alive. Once we were separated from them at the Forsaken Fortress, Nico was lowest ranked pirate once again, which is why he's stuck watching the ship while everyone else gets to eat. He's bored and wants to put me through another test. This time there's no platforms, just swinging across lanterns. This time the switch opens a gate at the end on a timer. It takes a couple tries again, but it's not very hard. Once I reach the end, Nico can't believe it once again, as he's not even passed this test before. He knows if he gives away the bombs, everyone will know it was him, but he doesn't have a choice and lets me have the chest. So I open the chest and get the bombs, starting with a maximum of 30. That's when Tetra speaks to Link through the pirate's charm, praising the guts he has to steal from pirates. But she's more surprised Link survived being thrown from the Forsaken Fortress. She figures Link hasn't saved Daryl yet and criticises his habit of just running into things without thinking, like now. She says he only got the bombs because she left an idiot like Nico in charge. She basically tells Link what to do while pretending to be mocking him, saying that Jaboon is hiding in a cave around the back of Outset and the bombs are to be used to blow that cave open. If I can get to him and get his treasure first, I win. She says they're going to relax in town for the night and set off in the morning, and their huge pirate ship will quickly overtake my little boat. And I didn't get all of their bombs. Nico is less occupied with the fact he's probably in a lot of trouble than he is distracted by how cool it is that Link also has a charm like Tetra's. So Tetra's turned this into a race, but I think I still have time to check my post. It's from Beedle saying that his ships are now selling bombs, right after I finally get some for myself. The letter also included Beedle's chart, showing where every one of Beedle's ships is across the Great Sea. The king reminds me that we have to hurry, but you may have noticed that even outside of town, it's been a rainy night for a long time now. So it's obvious that we are locked into a permanent night for now and have no need to worry about the pirates overtaking me, as morning won't be coming. The first time I ever played this game, I didn't notice, and so while rushing back to Outset, I ran into Cyclos and without the item to fight him with, got sent flying several squares back north. I was genuinely terrified I wasn't going to make it in time and thought I was incredibly lucky when I still made it back to Outset during the night. I go one square west of Windfall Island and get the island marked on my chart. It's Spectacle Island, the name and shape referencing the first game's Spectacle Rock. Moving one square south takes me to the tower seen in one of Lenzo's photos. Feeding the fishman to get it on my chart reveals it to be Tingle Island. I check it out. Even in this storm, up the tower Tingle still has his brother Ankle and slave worker David Jr. turning the top of the tower. David Jr. says that there is also a third brother, who he wishes would show up and do the job for him. I then go 2 squares south, missing an island on the way. On this island with another of those stone heads, I can get a photo of Old Man Ho-Ho. He's interested in what could be hiding in the Islet of Steel. Feeding the fishman has it marked as Stone Watcher Island. There's another pirate lookout nearby with a chest containing 20 rupees. I go a square southeast of Stone Watcher Island to find another fairy island. With the bombs I can blow up the boards blocking the entrance. Inside is the Great Fairy's fountain and I meet my second Great Fairy. She increases my bomb maximum from 30 to 60. If you'd played the last 2 3D games first, this is loads when you consider they capped out at 40 bombs after 2 upgrades. I also make sure to have the fishman mark Southern Fairy Island on my sea chart. Nearby are 3 more towers. I have to kill the bokoblins and use the new cannon in my boat to destroy all the cannons on the towers. This spawns a chest on the one tower without a ladder, meaning I have to use a deco leaf to reach it. It contains treasure chart 40. I next return to Outset Island, where I can see another treasure glowing from the sea, but I'm kicked off the King of Red Lions until I'm done here. The king has finally noticed that morning isn't showing up and wonders if this was the curse Valu mentioned. To be honest, I don't fully get it. While I was at Greatfish, Quill said everywhere else still had blue skies despite the storm over Greatfish. and then after they're done talking it's affecting the entire sea. So did the curse kick in and spread out as soon as Link got there? Or is it somehow only affecting Link since he spent time at Greatfish in the aftermath of this destruction? Either way, the king is letting Link visit home since there's no worry of the pirates getting here. Outset has also become cursed in its own way. From now on there will be monsters on the island at night. I know Grandma is very ill, but I visit Orca first. Orca asks why Link never told him about Aryl's kidnapping. But more importantly, he can sense that Link has grown since he left the island and wants to be shown his sword skills. He wants me to hit him 100 times before he can hit me 3 times. Parries are worth 2 hits by the way. I get hit twice early on and so I resort to my old but time consuming strategy from over a decade ago. Jump attack, backflip away and jump attack again. He rarely fights back if you get the spacing just right. However, I get in the position to trigger one of his attacks without realising and I fail at 57 hits. Between attempts I get a photo of him. On my next go I find I can trap him in a corner and just spam jump attacks at the right angle without needing to waste time on backflips. This time I fail on 69 hits. Next time I just try mixing things up and paying attention to what he's doing, getting 101 hits before being hit once. He declares Link a knight and gives me a purple rupee. But we're not done yet. This time he wants 300 hits. I lose my first 2 hits before reaching the first 100, but manage to scrape my way to 301 after that. He promotes Link to a swordsman and gives me an orange rupee. And one more time, he wants 500 hits. This is a painful one to fail when you reach the high numbers. This time I reach 500 hits having only taken 1 hit. He awards me a piece of heart. I check in on Sturgeon and Sue Belle upstairs. Sue Belle is the one to tell Link about his grandmother's bad turn. Also, a minor correction, Sue Belle is Sturgeon's granddaughter, not daughter. Sturgeon says that some fairy dust should heal Link's grandmother, but he hasn't seen any fairies around here in a while. He does remind you of the fairy fountain up in the forest that was blocked by a boulder. Since I'm here, I also get photos of Sue Belle and Sturgeon. I stop by Grandma's and take a photo of her suffering. For the figurine. Next I visit Rose and Abe's house, and where did the other 2 pigs go? I gave her a pink, black and pink pig with black spots, and only the black pig remains and he's massive now. Did he eat them? Did they eat them? Already? I get a photo of Abe who doesn't have anything interesting to say. At least Rose says she and the kids have been worrying about him before I get her picture. The kids are asleep and so I climb up on their beds, stand over them and take the pictures of Joel and Zill. It's for the figurines, it's for the 100%, it's completely innocent. My camera is full so I don't even bother visiting Mesa as I run up the mountain path again. Old Man Ho-Ho is up here, looking at the opposite side of the island, mumbling about something. The bridge has been destroyed and so I have to use the wind and the Deku Leaf to get to the forest. The threat level of the forest has also increased by a bit. Before it was just bokoblins, now we have Mothula and Moblins around here. I get to the fairy fountain and blow up the rock blocking it to get inside. I meet my 3rd great fairy in this one and she gives me a bigger wallet, letting me hold 1000 rupees. In the GameCube original your starting cap was 200 but it was increased to 500 for the Wii U, but the wallet upgrades are the same in both versions. The great fairy leaves behind several normal fairies, so I bottle one. I rush back home to heal Grandma, but I have some more post so she can wait. It's another one from Beedle, offering an empty bottle, piece of heart and treasure chart at a specific shop at Rockspire Island. It also came with a green rupee as apology for the letter being unsolicited. I finally return to Grandma and use the fairy on myself right in front of her. It then moves on to her and heals her too. She perks up and is glad to see Link again. She feels guilty for it though, Aryl still being kidnapped and Link trying to save her, but all she can do is stay home and worry. But she does have her own way to look after Link while he's away, and that's by making him his favourite elixir soup. It has 2 servings and fully restores both health and magic along with granting a temporary double attack strength. And I can come back any time and get another bottle of it once I drink it. Does anyone from the UK remember that video game show on TV, When Games Attack, from around the mid-2000s, hosted by Dominic Diamond? I always remembered it because this sweet moment of a terrified grandmother finding her own way to support her grandson when she can't be with him was listed number 1 in that show's Top 5 Video Games that Most Exploit Women, with Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball apparently being less exploitative at number 2. Even back then I was like, eh? Even if you take the uncharitable reason of Link only valuing his grandmother for the soup, the most exploitative? Even back then? With that business taken care of, I return to the king, who reminds me that Jaboon's cave is on the back side of the island. But first I'm getting that treasure that's been sitting there mocking me all this time. It's an orange rupee, the treasure of chart 43. I head around the back and see the slab blocking the cave, but there's also a whirlpool here, so I have to shoot my bombs and break down every section of the slab before I reach the centre of the whirlpool. You can only destroy the segments from top to bottom, but it isn't that hard and it's not long before I enter that cave. Inside we meet Jaboon, a descendant of Lord Jabu Jabu from Ocarina of Time. The music in this scene is even a remix of the Jabu Jabu's belly theme from that game. Like Valu and the Deku Tree, this spirit also speaks in ancient Hylian. But this time we get to see an actual conversation, or half of one anyway. Jaboon gets Ganon's return confirmed to him, and also the fact that this Link is in no way related to Ocarina of Time Link. He only got laid in one timeline and this wasn't it. But the king finds a lot of potential in him and manages to talk Jaboon into handing over Nehru's pearl. He confirms that Ganondorf caused the endless night and rain and we can't make out the rest of the conversation before we leave. Gaining that pearl has broken the curse, so we can get our daytime and regular Greater Sea music back. The king has marked the places I need to set the pearls on my chart, but once again, they can wait. So, Great Fish Isle was intended to be an explorable location where you'd go through a dungeon for Jaboon in exchange for the pearl. It was cut for time and replaced with the Destruction and Endless Night section, and given the relatively small amount of dungeons this game has, I can see why some would be disappointed. Now, we can never know what the cut dungeon would have been like in its intended place, but I think I prefer what we ended up with anyway. It's a memorable surprise. Apart from Majora's Mask, the other 3 classic 3D games had a similar structure, starting the game off with 3 dungeons for a first set of magical items before the mid-game point. Now, I never got bored of this formula the way many others did. I don't really find 4 games doing something similar in the space of 13 years too much. But this game putting you on that path, and then surprising you with what may have felt like a predictable third, probably water-based dungeon already having been destroyed and you being too late sounds far more memorable to me. It also shows how Ganondorf's threat level is increasing without us having to see him. But back to the game. I sail to the square between Southern Fairy Island and the Forest Haven. There's an island here covered in ice that I can't approach. I feed the fishman and it is marked down as Ice Ring Isle. Then it's back to the Nintendo Gallery for more figurines. The Forsaken Fortress room gains Big Octo. The Outset Island room gains the Crab, along with Orca. Orca's figurine says he wanted to be a swordsman, but a career-ending injury meant he had to return to Outset to be a fisherman. Sturgeon's figurine claims he was also once an accomplished swordsman before he became so big-headed. Another correction on Sue Bell from her figurine: she didn't move back to Outset, she was born on Windfall and moved to Outset to help out Sturgeon. Giving a photo of Link's grandma also gets us a figurine of Aryll. She's been trying to learn how to carry pots on her head from Sue Bell so she can gather the water for Grandma. Speaking of, Grandma actually likes to prank Link from time to time. Was the illness a prank? Roses doesn't have anything interesting to say, but Abe says that he was once considered so attractive that every woman on Outset was after him, except for Rose, who was the only one he wanted and it took a lot of persistence to win her over. Thing is, with the claim that all women but Rose were after him, is that if Sue Bell is a new arrival, the only other woman on Outset was Link's grandmother. Do what you will with that knowledge. Actually, no, tell me in the comments, Rose or Link's grandmother, which do you choose? They say you're supposed to engage with the audience to do well on YouTube, I think this is what they mean. Then there's Joel and Zill. Finally, the Greater Sea room gained Old Man Ho-Ho. I next sail all the way back to Outset. More post. It's from Grandma asking if I need any more soup. It's been like 15 minutes. It's filled with all her concern and she also sent her savings of a red rupee to help out some more. I get a picture of the pig and then go to Mesa's house. He sleeps through the day now, so I go in at night. I get his picture and listen to his troubles. He can't sleep at night thanks to the monsters. This has led to him sleeping through the day and being bored shitless at night because he can't leave his house because of the monsters. Next I go to the square containing Stonewatcher Island and find this lookout with cannons. Blowing them all up spawns a chest containing another piece of heart. I then go to the island 1 square east and feed the fishman to get Southern Triangle Island filled in on the chart. Moving east from there and onto the next square, I get attacked by a second Big Octo. This one has 8 eyes, 3 on the front, 3 on the back and 1 on each side. But now I have the bombs, the cannon can deal with them faster than the boomerang. Killing it leaves behind a glowing ring. I pull it up and it's an orange rupee. I find the island on this square and next to it is another treasure chart location. It's the treasure of chart 1, a silver rupee. I feed the fishman and get the private oasis marked on my sea chart. He says this place has something relating to a mythical Triumph Forks. I check it out to find it holds a cabana owned by Mrs. Marie. I can't even go inside as the butler is painted into the front door itself and refuses to let me even touch the handle. Drona and his dying tree are also here too. I jump off the back of the cabana's fence to reach this cliff where there's a chest containing treasure chart 27. I next return to Tingle Island to get photos of Tingle, Ankle and David Jr. I sail around the square until I run into my third big octo. This one has 12 eyes, 5 on the front and back, 1 on each side. I run out of bombs and have to use the boomerang again, just barely killing it before I reach its mouth. It leaves behind another ring, getting me my 20th piece of heart and getting me halfway to maximum health. Then it's north one square back to Spectacle Island. Salvatore is here, sleeping with a picture frame in front of his face because it's night. I make it morning and talk to him to try out his target shooting game for 50 rupees. I have to prove myself to the pirate captain he plays by shooting down 5 enemy ships with just 10 bombs, the enemy ships being played by barrels. There isn't much to say about this, you just have to get used to the feeling of the cannon and the aiming. It seemed to start off badly, but in the end I managed to down them all in 9 shots. Somehow Salvatore at least knows Gonzo's name to act out this ending, and I win a piece of heart. I then clear it a second time to win treasure chart 17. When I visit Beedle to stock up on bait and bombs, he teases Link about his relationship with Tetra. I get sailing north to find another submarine. This one has 4 moblins to kill and I take a photo. Apparently a blade blocking the subject's entire face is still good enough. I kill them all and swing across the lanterns to the side opposite the entrance to spawn a chest containing treasure chart 22. Very close to the submarine is the island for this square, revealed to be the Northern Fairy Island when I feed the fishman. Old Man Ho-Ho is here staring west, but I go into the fountain here. The Great Fairy fully upgrades my wallet, allowing me to hold 5,000 rupees, 10 times the maximum of the N64 games. I next return to Windfall Island. I talk to Camo, still depressed and lashing out. If I say I understand him, he tells me to take a photo of the first perfectly round pale thing I can think of. I go to Pompey and Vera and give them the photo of Lenzo and Minenko. They realise they were wrong about him having a girlfriend and realise they should stop spreading gossip. They give me treasure chart 24 for teaching them that they're assholes. I talk to Linda. Instead of using the photo I took last time on Anton, Lenzo instead told Linda's fortune and said that if she sent a photo of herself to Anton, her feelings would be returned. So she wants me to take the photo and give it to him. I need a photo of her anyway, so I do it, once the killer bees get out of my way anyway. I give it to Anton and seeing the photo reminds him that he finds Linda attractive. He decides he's finally going to ask her out. Then he realises he doesn't even know her name yet. I use the Song of Passing to skip a couple days and go to the cafe. Anton and Linda are there and have begun a relationship. Linda is very grateful for my help and gives me a piece of heart. I mean, I'm grateful and all, but I still hate Anton and wish he was dead. He's fictional, it's acceptable to say that. Back to Mrs. Marine now, and I've built up 92 joy pendants. She takes 20 of them from me and in return she gives me her cabana deed, so now I can go inside. This feels like a very unfair trade. I just gave her jewellery and she gave me an entire island with a house on it. But she has no more intention to travel at sea at her age, so I guess I'll take it. I know she wants another 40, but when I offer 40 to her, she takes all 72 I have left. I know she gave me a house first, but that wasn't the offer, bitch. She gives me the Wii U exclusive Treasure Chart 45, the old reward on the GameCube having been moved elsewhere, so I'm starting my Joy Pendant maxing again from scratch. Outside I continue to play the Song of Passing until the night has a full moon for me to photo. I give the photo to Camo and it cheers him up, the piece from looking at a full moon overpowering the pain from his unrequited love of Linda. He gives me Treasure Chart 31. I sail to the island 1 square north of Windfall and have the fishman mark it on the chart. This one is Gale Isle. He says I won't be able to get past the strong winds without the treasure from Ice Ring Isle. Then 1 square east to feed another fishman to get Crescent Moon Island marked down as well. I can also find the location of Treasure Chart 11, getting me another piece of heart. Old Man Ho-Ho is here looking east at a submarine and there's a chest guarded by 2 blue choo-choos. I get the jelly from both. The chest gets me Treasure Chart 10. I check out that nearby submarine. This one is filled with a massive number of mini-blins, but several uses of a spin attack kills them all and lowers the ladder to a chest containing Treasure Chart 9. East another square takes me to a few rocks pointing out from the sea. The fishman marks them down as the 7-star isles. The treasure of Chart 45 is here too, a silver rupee. There are 3 lookouts next to each other nearby. This one has wizrobes I can actually reach. Killing the first one spawns a chest with a red rupee. Killing the second spawns a chest with a golden feather. The third floats off the platform, so I give up on it. Slightly east of those platforms is another 12-eyed big octo. I kill it and it leaves behind a ring pointing out a chest with my 24th piece of heart inside. I return to Dragon Roost Island next and blow up this huge boulder near the Wind Shrine to reveal a cave. Down here I go through the door in front of me to a room with 4 more doors with torches above them and a locked door. I go through the one left of the entrance to face a few keys. Killing them all lights a torch above the door I entered through. Next is the door left of the locked door. In this room I have 2 Mothula to take down. Next, the room right of the entrance, putting me against a few red choo-choos. Finally, the door right of the locked one has me facing 3 bokoblins. With all 4 torches lit, the bars on the door are lifted, leading to a chest containing just a purple rupee. Back into town I have 34 golden feathers, so I offer Hoskit his 20 for his girlfriend. He says he'll put them in a letter and send them to her while telling her about me. As thanks, he gives me an orange rupee. I next return to Dragon Roost Cavern to kick off another side quest now I have the bombs. I return to the room that leads to the room containing the big key and swing across to the small platform across the entrance. I place a bomb here and the explosion reveals a chest. This contains the Dragon Tingle statue. Before, these required using the Tingle tuner and paying Tingle to bomb these spots, but with its removal, normal bombs work instead now. Next I sail 1 square east of Dragon Roost to have the Fishman mark it down as the flight control platform. I stop off at said platform to find a couple more Rito. They're actually humans dressed as Rito. I first get a photo of Willy standing at the ladder. He tells me I can take the official Rito Tribe Birdman contest here. I have to use any means I can to fly as far as possible from this platform. There's a banner placed in the spot the current champion has managed to fly to. It's just 10 rupees to take part. Up the top of the platform I take a photo of Willy's older brother, Obli. I can see the banner, I just have to fly past it with the Deku Leaf, using these cyclones nearby to gain extra height if I need it. However, I wasted a bit too much time going for those cyclones and run out of magic right in front of the banner, being just 2 yards off from the prize. I do it again and this time I just barely pass the banner. Obli's record has been topped and my reward is another piece of heart. Very close to the platforms is another submarine. I press the switch inside to spawn some Wizrobes. These can't float off any platforms to escape me, so I can kill them. I then kill some choo-choos, followed by a wave of mini-blins. Then I finally get the last Wizrobe, allowing me to reach the chest containing the platform chart. This shows where all the pirate lookouts are on the sea, but sadly it doesn't mark down which ones I've looted. From there I go north, taking me to the most northeastern place on the Great Sea. The Fishman marks this one as Overlook Island. He says that the Triumph Forks can also be found on this island. I can't get on it yet though. Next I go south from the platform to find another lookout. This one has a chest containing Treasure Chart 44, a Wii U exclusive. I find a group of rocks nearby where I can pull up the treasure from Chart 27, a silver rupee. Feeding the Fishman here marks these rocks as the Starbelt Archipelago. West from the archipelago is my 5th Big Octo to battle. We're back to 8 eyes this time. I take it down and it leaves me a chest with an orange rupee inside. Since I'm nearby, I return to the Eastern Fairy Isle. I have some post first from Hoskit's girlfriend showing gratitude for the golden feathers. She says she's a bird enthusiast, but she herself is a bird, right? Unless she's a human and exclusively dates Ritos because she loves birds that much. She sends me a piece of heart. I use my bombs to kill a blue choo-choo on this island for its jelly. Speaking of, now I have bombs, I can blow up the boulder blocking the entrance to this fairy fountain. This great fairy increases my bomb capacity again, this time maxing it out at 99. I sail southeast from the island to find 2 more lookouts next to each other. Only one has a ladder and I destroy all its cannons to spawn a chest with a golden feather inside. I then float over to the other and kill the bokoblins there for a chest with a Bokobaba seed. East some more takes me to a square below the archipelago where there's another fairy island, the Fishman calling it the Thorned Fairy Island. This fountain I can't get into yet, so I just move on. I go south to the next island and feed the Fishman to have Bird's Peak Rock filled in on the chart. This is another place relating to the supposed Triumph Forks, as there's a chart there that leads to them, but once again I can't do anything there yet. To the west of Square is Bomb Island, and I have bombs now, so I get blowing up all the boulders I couldn't before. The one at the top of the island is hiding a cave. There's a switch and a locked door here, so I wait for a magtail to come from the lava and stun it to place it on the switch. In here are 2 narrow paths over lava, one of them being blocked by 2 fire rings. I go across the left path to press a switch that gets rid of the fire so I can cross the right path. Here are 2 magtails and 2 more switches surrounded by fire. I stun these 2 and throw them into the switches to get rid of the fire surrounding this chest up top. This gets me a piece of heart. 2 squares west to return to the Southern Triangle Island so that I can pull up the treasures from Chart 44, an orange rupee. Then to the outskirts of Ice Ring Isle to pull up Chart 17's treasure, a silver rupee. Then east some more back to the Forest Haven for Chart 31's treasure, my 28th piece of heart. Only 2 completed dungeons and I have 12 hearts. I also drop off my photos with Karlov for more figurines. The Dragon Roost Island room gains Willy and Obli. The Forsaken Fortress room gets the Moblin figurine. Outset Island's room gets Mesa, which says he's looking for a wife. Well, if Subel turns out to not be interested, his only remaining option, once again, is Link's grandmother. It also gains the Wild Pig figurine. The Windfall Island room gets Linda, where it's said she's unaware of Camo's feelings for her. He could have made his feelings known ages before Anton came into the picture though. Yeah, he may have been turned down, but at least he'd have tried. Then the Great Sea room. It's here we learn that David Jr. was a 17-year-old treasure hunter chasing after the ghost ship, but passing out from seasickness had him washing up at Tingle Island, where he's forced to work and take part in their fairy roleplay. It also only says he was 17 when he left Windfall, not how old he is now, so who knows how long he's been trapped there. Then there's Ankle, who is apparently the responsible one of the brothers, and the figurine of Tingle himself. I return to the Forbidden Woods. In the optional room in the basement where I found treasure chart 15, I bomb this platform in the corner to spawn a chest containing the Forbidden Tingle statue. I next sail southwest back to Headstone Island to dig up treasure chart 40, a silver rupee. Then all the way west to Horseshoe Isle to pull up treasure chart 9's chest, another silver rupee. Now for some new islands. Heading a long way north past the Free Eye Reef is another fairy island and the location of treasure chart 8 for another silver rupee. Feeding the Fishman gets a square marked as Western Fairy Island. Can't get in here yet, but I can go up the nearby lookout tower for a chest containing a skull necklace. Continuing north to the square one south of the Forsaken Fortress, I get the Fishman to fill in the Four Eye Reef. This one has loads of normal treasure rings inside it. You may have noticed I have skipped over several of these over the last few minutes of side questing as my rupee count is shooting up. I next go a square east, but stay on the edges as I'm not risking going near that Cyclone, as Cyclos is in there and I can't fight him yet. I travel to the square one east of the Forsaken Fortress, stopping by this tower for a chest containing a golden feather. The Forsaken Fortress is surrounded by a lot of explosive barrels that just knock you out of the King of Red Lions while he zooms off without you. I reach this square's island, Star Island, and have the Fishman fill it in. Around here I can pull up another silver rupee, the treasure of chart 7. Star Island is covered in boulders to blow up, one of them hiding a hole to a cave. In here I have a few waves of enemies to kill. First some Magtails, then Bokoblins, then Moblins. Killing them all gets me a chest containing a piece of heart. Oaken and his dying tree are here too. Next is back to Northern Fairy Island to find the treasure of chart 24, yet another silver rupee. Then Spectacle Island for chart 22's treasure, another silver rupee. I go west from it to the square with the Cyclone. I'm safe here behind the island as the Cyclone doesn't come this way. Behind the island is chart 29's treasure, more silver rupees. The Fishman is right next to it as well, so I get the Mother and Child Isles marked on my sea chart. He tells me the island has a treasure that can only be found by landing inside it from above. Once he leaves I see the Cyclone heading my way and rush out of there to the square to the south. Nearby are 3 more lookouts with cannons to destroy to spawn chests. The one I can climb to gets me a red rupee, then using the Deku Leaf I can reach a chest with a golden feather and on the opposite platform one with an orange rupee. The island is near and I have the Fishman fill it in as Rockspire Isle. I leave this place for now and return to Tingle Island, where the 2 statues I've found can be seen. Treasure chart 10's location is here, another silver rupee. And that's where I'll be leaving things this episode. There's a couple more side quests coming up, but I'll have to finish those off at the start of part 3 as this video is getting long enough. They shouldn't take up too much of the start of the next part though. So it looks like I had no chance of covering 2 dungeons in this video, but that's mainly because I'd forgotten just how much stuff is opened up to do after the Forbidden Woods. I had fun though, slowly filling in my sea chart, building up the figurine gallery and crossing off all those treasure charts. But next time, after those last couple side quests are done, I'll be doing what the King of Red Lions has been telling me to hurry to and place all those pearls in their intended places. There'll be some important stuff happening in the next part.